My Pleasure on the inside. Brian Stewart and Robert Angel doing a fine job here in Sarasota. DeLand Honda on the outside. DeLand Honda. L6. There's Red Thunder on the outside. Odie on the inside. Local boat Red Thunder L5 as we move a little closer. As Odie goes by, let's focus on Red Thunder. 23-foot Stingray powered by one 330 horsepower Chevy inboard with a Mercury Alpha drive. Driver is Larry Adams. He's from Bradenton, Florida. Navigator Janet Adams. Red Thunder. This is Larry's first race. This is a great local class, great way for these amateurs to get into the world of offshore racing. And they are certainly having a great time here today in Sarasota in this great local class, 15 entered in all. Great turnout. Of course, many of these guys will move up into the professional ranks. That's the idea. Other boats in class, foreplay and don't blink. All right, now we're going to go with Wild Thing L26, a 25-foot talent, powered by two 2.4 EFIs. The driver, Roger J. Lee, navigator Rick Oxton from Fort Myers. Roger, of course, would like to thank his lovely wife, Debbie, for all of her assistance during this 1997 racing season, this local race here in Sarasota. Wild Thing, Roger Lee and Rick Oxton aboard. Sponsor includes Ulrich Marine. Other boats in class include My Pleasure and Cigarette. You're watching the local boats here in this 1997 Suncoast Offshore Grand Prix Festival. There's High Voltage on the outside. High Voltage. High Voltage is a 24-foot Carrera powered by one 420 horsepower Chevy inboard with a Mercruiser drive. The driver is Noel Gonzalez. Straddleman is Tony Medina. Navigator Mario Gonzalez. They're all from Hialeah, Florida. Sponsors include J&M Propellers, Stainless Marine, and High Voltage Marine Service. And a very special thanks to Isabel Medina and Durley Gonzalez, Hector Gonzalez, and Lourdes Gorzal. Other boats in class with high voltage include Boxer and XTC Race Team. High Voltage with Noel Gonzalez, Tony Medina, and Mario Gonzalez. They won this local race last year here in Sarasota. Took a third place in Isla Mirada. and a first place in Sarasota here in 1993. High voltage, a 24-foot Carrera. Tony Medina, by the way, from Hialeah, he is the owner of L21 High Voltage, powered by one 420 horsepower Chevy inboard. There's foreplay and high voltage on the outside. Foreplay and high voltage. But we're going to go with foreplay. L4 24-foot Chris Craft, powered by one 325 horsepower Mercruiser inboard with a Mercruiser Alpha drive. Driver is Scott Cussy. He's from Sarasota. Navigator is Edward Van Dusen from Sarasota as well. Foreplay. Sponsors include Canvas West, Scott Engines, and Sun Promotion. High voltage and foreplay. Don't Blink and Red Thunder in the same class with foreplay. All right, now it's XTC Race Team, a 27-foot fountain powered by one 430 horsepower Mercury inboard with a Mercruiser drive. The driver is Peter Dorner. He's from Osprey, Florida. Navigator is Lynn Taylor from Nokomis, Florida. XTC Race Team. Peter Dorner and Lynn Taylor. The team would like to acknowledge the faithful support of their sponsors for their contributions to the team and giving back to their community and furthering the goals of helping handicapped kids and adults. They include the Service Master Company and Intercoastal Marine. Now, this team is placed in a top 3 finish in every race run. In 1995, this team achieved first place in the Suncoast Offshore Challenge B class among a large field of aggressive competitors. Recently, first place in Local 1 was achieved by this team at the 1997 APBA Fort Myers Offshore Races. XTC Race Team. Lynn Taylor and Peter Dorner. Peter the driver, Lynn the navigator. Lynn is a local deputy sheriff residing in Nokomis, Florida. Peter Dorner, a manager working in public school districts. This is his 5th Suncoast Offshore Challenge. 27-foot fountain. Other boats in class include Boxer and High Voltage. Nice jump, XTC Racing. Midwest Federal Trading, a 28-foot Manta powered by two 2.5 EFIs. The driver Gary Lanzer, throttleman Gerard Lanzer, navigator Dave Piccolo. Midwest Federal Trading. Sponsor includes Midwest Federal Trading, a full-service futures commodities option house doing business worldwide. There's Performance Marine going by. Performance Marine with Hank Clever and Pat Sullivan. Performance Marine Offshore. Powered by one 700 horsepower Performance Marine inboard with a Mercruiser drive. L17 Don't Blink, a 23-foot Raven powered by one 460 horsepower Mercury inboard. Driver is Dennis Bilodeau from Sarasota. Navigator Doug Sutherland, also from Sarasota. Don't Blink, 23-foot Raven. These guys have been racing about 3 years, and they took a second place here in '95 and a third place last year. They also took a second place in '96 in Fort Myers, and earlier this year a second place in Fort Myers as well, and a second place in Isla Mirada last year. So they've been racing for quite a while now. They're doing excellent today here in local class L17 Don't Blink. Other competitors in their class include Foreplay and Red Thunder. And currently, Don't Blink, they are in first place, doing quite well. Sponsors include Fiberglass Services of Sarasota and Vaporel. Number one in their class, Don't Blink. All right, now L40 Pump It, a 27-foot Baja powered by one 440 horsepower Mercruiser inboard with a Mercruiser drive. The driver and on throttles is Joy Dacey from Valerico, Florida. Navigator Eddie Ferris from Edgewater, Florida. Earlier this year, Pump It took a third place in the Hooters Offshore Grand Prix, and they won that race in 1996. Pump It, 27-foot Baja. Joy Dacey and Eddie Ferris doing a fine job here in Sarasota. This will be the last boat that we'll be covering for you, and shortly afterwards we'll be compiling the final results in this 1997 Suncoast Offshore Grand Prix Festival. Of course, you've been watching the local boats. Of course, we've also had the Superstock Offshore A, Factory 1 and Factory 2, and we'll have those results for you very shortly here in Sarasota as we watch Pump It with Joy Dacey and Eddie Ferris, L40.